Very good morning to you. Welcome to the Morning Brief right here on Channels Television. I'm Jeffrey Ozong. It's a brand new day. Good morning, guys.
Yes, indeed. It's Wednesday. Good morning, Kelly. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Good morning, Bukola.
Yeah.
I was just a moment ago that I saw a video where you were dancing over the weekend.
Oh, I can't believe that you. I can't believe that you bring that
way. No, I had to bring it because I didn't see that video before it came on the show yesterday, so I should just give that a mention. But nice.
Well, you know, we work so hard, so hard. A lot of
so when
the
we have
days
the chance
of the
to
week,
party,
and so when we have
so
the
hard.
time, yeah, we party hard as well, and we relax as much as we can. Yeah.
While you guys are partying, Nigerians are waiting for us to find out exactly what we're dealing with this morning. So first up, the president has now ordered a probe into the saga that involves the fictitious, as they call it, the gentleman, Prince Adeyemi, and the agency that everybody is now denying, to the effect that, look, we don't even understand how you did this, but to the best of our knowledge and what we know, we do not know you. And that case, part of it is in court. Now the president has ordered an investigation because a lot of Nigerians were clamoring to the effect that besides court, a lot of people need to answer questions from the office of the chief of staff to the president, the office of the secretary to the government of the federation, the accountant general. We can go on and on. So now the president has done what he should do. How this will end is a different kettle of fish. I'm trying to go back to see some of the reference, if I may read the reference to what the president had ordered. He said, President Tinubu directed the ICPC to investigate not only the conduct of the principal individual and other collaborators involved, but also the wider circumstances that may have enabled the fictitious body and a false claim of presidential appointment to acquire an appearance of official legitimacy. So that is coming from the directive of the president. So how many people will be called to question is another kettle of fish altogether. But people are raising concerns as well, Bukola, to the effect that, I think it was yesterday, some of the papers were reporting that Femi Gbajabiamila, for instance, who is the principal person mentioned, who has denied and even filed a pre-action notice against Prince Adeyemi, else is going to initiate a suit against him to the tune of 10 billion naira if he doesn't apologize and exonerate him from all the things he claimed, because he has constantly denied that all the things this gentleman claimed against him are false. So people are raising concern about the fact that he's also going to be part of those who are chairing the State Police Implementation Committee. So the question is the president giving us the body language is not as clear as crystal, because this said the argument for those proponents of that part of the conversation is that in other crimes, somebody like Femi Gbajabiamila, for instance, should have stepped down to allow the investigation carry through. But guys, you remember when the president hosted the maiden media core dinner, which happened, the president spoke. I remember Gbajabiamila spoke as well. I think he said he was surprised, he didn't expect to speak. So when he was told to speak, and now this, I think he's always been part of this state police implementation, but I stand to be corrected. But now is to make sure that workability, the implementation work out as soon as possible, because you know he was the Speaker of the House of Representatives, so he has a lot of legislative background. He's also a lawyer. So is it that the president is saying something this way and then doing something that way without trying to posit it? So on one hand, investigate, but this gentleman is innocent until proven guilty. So that is the argument right now on the streets of Nigerians, in the heart of some Nigerians.
Well, maybe there may be more, arguments that have not been covered, because one thing that is protruding amid this conversation is that this gentleman has so far been called a con artist, and his agency, which he claims to chair, has been presented as a fake agency, but that doesn't answer all of the questions. And that's why I've been looking very closely at the statement emanating from the State House containing President Bola Tinubu's directive to the ICPC to investigate this alleged fake agency. And I'm wondering if it also directs that those actors involved be investigated. It does state somewhere in the 6th paragraph or so, yes, President Tinubu directed the ICPC to investigate not only the conduct of the principal individual and other collaborators involved, but also the wider circumstances that may have enabled the fictitious body and a false claim of presidential appointment to acquire appearance of official legitimacy. And so I was hoping that collaborators could have been specific, because, you know, this began with the legitimate agency, what's it called now, the Foreign Investment Promotion Council or so, raising alarm about the duplicity of this fictitious body, and then the Ministry of Foreign Affairs also sending a letter to the Office of the Secretaries of the government seeking clarification of the status, the specific status of this particular body. So Mr. President's statement ought to have been more specific about who these alleged collaborators are, because for this man to have the effrontery to come on national television and say that the court will vindicate him, and, you know, for reports to be coming through about alleged bribery, you know, against the chief of staff to the president, and, you know, him demanding additional 200 million naira for whatever transaction that may have transpired, that word collaborators could have been more specific about the actors involved, because this man couldn't have gotten a budget code, a line item in a legal appropriation document, and an office in a secretariat where he operated from, and then interacted with, you know, members of the diplomatic community for years under this particular administration without an insider. And so I'm going to take that continuous reference to this man as a con man and his agency as a fake agency with a pinch of salt rather than a pack of salt, until the administration does well to clear its name, because this borders on institutional integrity by insisting that the alleged collaborators in this particular saga be investigated alongside this man. Because, again, we ask, he got a budget code, a line item in the budget for which more than $1 billion was allocated to his agency, and he's been operating, and, you know, the administration comes out to say that it's a fictitious body. That is, you know, a bit, you know, unbelievable, you know, until the exact details come through. And who is this, you know, gentleman that, you know, ensured the connection, if you like, or the introduction, you know, to officials of the ministry that has now passed on? That ought to be investigated as well, gentlemen. And it's rather difficult to accept that, you know, we should just accept this man as an alleged con man or his agency fictitious. Kelly.
Yes, Mkola, I mean, I made some of my, I gave some of my analysis yesterday, and maybe I should just continue from where I stopped. It's really, really embarrassing. For me, again, this is a national embarrassment. I'm just wondering why we keep painting the image of this country to the world in this manner all the time. I mean, the fact that we're even having to have this kind of conversation, national conversation, because of this is, for me, really embarrassing. You see the images of this man meeting with, you know, foreigners, and then you wonder, how come? So that's the first thing I want to say. But for the statements, my question mark, for instance, is why is Mr. President having to order the ICPC? Does Mr. President have to do the ordering? Don't they know their job? How come the ICPC, EFCC know how to chase after some persons, and they have to wait for Mr. President to give the order before they probe this particular alleged scandal? So I'm just, that's a big concern for me. And I like the fact that in Nigeria, you have the word Independent Corrupt Practices Commission, and yet they're never independent. Independent National Electoral Commission, and yet they are never independent. So the president, it had to take the president, after 2 weeks of this story breaking, to reveal to Nigerians. Question mark number 2. The president is ordering a probe and giving them a deadline of 30 days. After 2 weeks, are we really serious here? For me, if you want something to be done, because there's something really peculiar about Nigerians. We have a national disease in the word forgetfulness. We forget a lot. So 30 days, and before you know it, something else will just get our attention, and then this matter will just be laid to rest. So 30 days to investigate this. I think for a story that has been in the news, dominated headlines for almost 2 weeks now, I think that is too long. I'm not sure how the Beta Edu case was handled. I'm not sure how the Uche Nnaji case was handled. And so that's why many Nigerians are questioning why the chief of staff stays in his office while this investigation goes. That is a very, very powerful office. And I think if there are question marks around it, then indeed something has to be done drastically.
And we might also ask why, his family members have been arrested and why the force headquarters has been unwilling to confirm or deny the circumstances around the arrest of his family members, this man's family members, Prince Adeyemi Adeniyi.
His father.
So we should ask the administration to come through, with answers to these questions as well.
We will definitely ask all of those questions. At the end of the day, I look at the ACJA, for instance, the Administration of Criminal Justice Act. I spoke to some lawyers. They say it's illegal to arrest a suspect. The family member, there's a way the ACJA put it, Section 7. I don't know the premise for which they did what they did, but a lot of things happen in our country. You get to find out later what exactly is going on. But I think the clamor here is that a lot of people may have wanted the chief of staff to resign, not resign, step aside, that's the right word, if these investigations are to be properly conducted, because now he's very active. Now, for the records, he has constantly denied, even with his lawyers, to say, I am not guilty, I don't know this man, I have no idea what he's talking about. But he's one of the most principled persons this man has mentioned, even in a presser with heavy allegations. But this is Nigeria. We hope that there will be anything useful that will come out of this investigation. We will keep our tabs on it and ensure that this doesn't go the way of the regular stuff. And again, the office of the chief of staff, I was looking at it the other day, is an administrative convenience. It's not a constitutional office. It's how politicians just, somebody to manage the staffing of the presidency and run all of this. Why this is very difficult for the president or the presidency to wish it away is three things. First, the budget of this mini agency found itself in the Appropriation Act of the federal government, or the Nigeria. The second part is that whether or not he completed the CBN processes of registering a bank account, it started. Although the presidency and the Office of the Auditor General are conflicting in their position.
Accountant General. Yeah,
Accountant General, I should say. So then the issue of him having a secretariat and staff. So this guy it's difficult to believe this guy worked alone.
If he had staff, if he had
about 300
if he had an office and he had staff, what allocation did he secure to pay those staff? For crying out loud, it's been operating from the beginning of the administration. So where did he secure the allocation to begin operation? So
you know why we say all of these things as journalists? So that whoever is investigating ICPC, they will answer all of these questions. ICPC, as you're doing your work, we're giving you questions we need answers for, and more questions you will provide answers for. The public image of our country has been battered over and over again. The trust quotient has dropped significantly. And these are the things that mess our image up. So sometimes before you say, don't speak ill of your country, do basic housekeeping. This housekeeping is required. Everybody who is responsible, remotely or directly, has to roll back. Or take, by the way, just 1 minute before we go, somebody has raised a motion on the floor of the Senate, resolution saying that because of the issue around insecurity in Nigeria, this whole rehabilitation and reintegration of terrorists should end. Some of us have advocated for it because it doesn't make sense. It may come later, but right now, if you carry gun against the state, you go the way of the states will have you go. Yeah. If you survive that duel, well, we'll take you and put you in life imprisonment forever. But we'll take a break. Oh, we understand we have
a soundbite.
I rise to move the following comments by a South African minister to the effect that compensation will not be paid to those Nigerians whose properties were looted, shop burnt, and even life taken.
Compelling conversation
by Abdulaziz Yaradua, representing Katsina State. So it wasn't so Shomole actually. But for me, the concern, well, they are halting the editorial. What we have heard is some say they are suspending, some say they're halting the process.
They're making a proposal. They can't halt. They are telling the federal government
to suspend.
To suspend, yes.
Yes. But I'm just, for me, I mean, it's not a matter of, they should put an end to it, because if you check what is playing out in the north, I'm just wondering how elections are going to hold in some part of northern Nigeria. There are places where farmers, according to reports, fear the bandits. They have, in fact, they pay 10% of their whatever and 20% to bandits. So insecurity has been on the rise in some regions, in some aspects. The fact that we have it very cool here, that's not the case in northern Nigeria. And so I'm happy that Abdulaziz Yar'Adua has had to move that motion, and I think they should put an end to it because it doesn't make sense. That is why banditry, that's why kidnapping, for instance, you know, it's now the new oil. It's now where everyone thinks that they can make. Imagine, is it the Eda Onio, when people were kidnapped, worshippers were kidnapped.
Ilejemeje, local government.
And they were asking for 1 billion naira. The government refused to pay, but the community raised monies and paid. And that's how those persons were rescued, according to reports. So for me, they should put an end to it because this is encouraging kidnapping for ransom, particularly, especially in the north, where this is really, really prominent.
Well, Kelly, elections have held in the northern part of the country in 2019 amid the peak of insurgency, and even in 2023. So the more important question, or the more important point to be made to the administration and even successive administrations, is that there must be a political will summoned from wherever it can come from to ensure an end to banditry and insurgency, especially with the commentary that we keep pointing out time and again of, you know, leaders of the administration ascribing it to the opposition. We must demand accountability for an enduring solution, you know, to banditry and insurgency, because non-state actors cannot be greater than the authorities that hold sway in a particular country. And so this is coming a little too late in the day.
Well, let's get it done. But we'll take a break, and we'll come back after this break. We'll bring our guest analyst, member of the Nigerian Guild of Editors, Mr. Akaria, joins us from our Abuja studios. Stay with us.